Hey friends, what's up? Welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name's Elise. Thanks for clicking on this video. If you're not new, welcome back. It's good to see you guys. Today we are talking about spicy books! Woo! I really went through a phase where I needed spicy books in my I needed my book to be spicy. However, I've kind of graduated from that to where if a book is written well, it's okay if there's not much spice. Do I prefer there to be spice? Yeah, I do. And so here are some of the spiciest books that I have read this year in order of spiciness from least spicy to most spicy. I'm probably gonna mess these up where I don't remember all of the details. I do remember the effect. So we're gonna go with that feeling. Coming in at number 11 on spiciness level, we have Every Summer After by Carley Fortune. This is a small town summer romance, second chance friends to lovers. It's also dual timeline in the past when Sam and Percy are kids and their families live on a lake house. Percy goes there in the summer and so they become best friends, and then 12 years later when they're adults and they no longer speak, but a certain circumstance brings Percy back to the town and they reunite, and we see what happens, why they no longer speak, and kind of what goes on from there. In terms of spiciness, I kind of rank this last because it is very slow burn. It doesn't happen very early on, and when it does, there are some minor spicy scenes and then I think like one really good spicy scene. However, it's not the most explicit book that I've read before, and that's why it kind of ranks a little bit lower. Still really great. I loved this book a lot. So if you like just a little bit but not too explicit, I think this is a really good one for you to pick up. Coming in at number 10, we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book is mostly fantasy focused, and then there is a subplot of romance. So it's very slow burn. The romance is not the focus, but there are a few scenes in the end, like towards the end, that were really good, and like the tension is so real. I loved it, and there was also some like magical elements to the spicy scene, so I feel like that just elevated it a little bit more. Fourth Wing, if you don't know, follows Violet. She's coming of age. She's supposed to go to school to be a scribe. However, her mom is the general of the Dragon Riders and says absolutely not. She throws her into the Dragon Rider Academy or else. However, Violet suffers from weak ligaments, so when she's being active, she's a higher risk of her ligaments tearing or popping, or joints popping out of place. So she's really not supposed to be in this academy. So we're following Violet as she's like in this academy. It's very deadly. We're following her. She's getting stronger, and then of course there are some political elements as well. Coming in at number 9 of my spicy book recommendations, we have Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Liese. This follows Bea and Jamie. Bea's sister just got engaged to Jamie's cousin or roommate. I think it's his cousin, who is also his roommate. The two that just got engaged are really trying to push these two together, Jamie and Bea, and kind of coerce them and kind of like get them to do this without their consent and without their full knowledge of what's happening, and they get so mad. So they decide to actually fake date, make their friends fall in love with them, and then break up right before the holidays and like devastate their friends and family. It's funny. I loved it because of the representation. Bea is autistic woman. I think she's also in her 30s, so it's really refreshing reading a main female character who's a little bit out of her 20s, and then Jamie also suffers from severe anxiety. So it was really interesting to see the behind the scenes of those, while just also them living their best lives. And I love fake dating so much. So this one, the spiciness comes in a little before the 70% mark, but what really stood out to me about this book is the consent and the communication that happened before and during the spicy scenes. I absolutely love that. I had a really fun time reading this, and I recommend it if you like spicy books. Coming in at number 8 for this year. Now, for the series as a whole, maybe a little bit different. Let me know what your thoughts are down below if you've read the series, and that is the Dreamland Billionaire series. If I were to rank this series as a whole, it would probably be a little bit higher on the spicy scale, but Final Offer itself was only mildly spicy in my opinion. I think that more of the focus really went on to our main characters. First, Cal, who is suffering from addiction and him trying to figure out his future and win back his friend and ex-girlfriend. Alana's point of view is really focusing on her betrayal from Cal and whether or not she can trust him again, and focusing on her daughter and things like that. When the spice came in, it was good, but it wasn't like the focus. So that's why I ranked it a little bit higher though, because like the series as a whole is more spicy. However, this book itself was a little bit lower than I expected. Still very good. I love Lauren Asher's writing and when it comes to those kind of scenes. Coming in at number 7 for this year, we have Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. This one is so fun! This book had a lot of spicy scenes, but before I go into detail, let me tell you more about what it's about. Maggie is a YouTuber and she flips homes. She is always on the go. Being a YouTuber looks like a glamorous life, but you are constantly working, and we see this with Maggie, who not only physically is on the show, but also works behind the scenes. She goes to Idaho and starts to flip this giant historical home. It's a huge project, and so she hires Silas to be the landscaper. Silas meets Maggie, and he kind of instantly is like, holy heck, I want to get to know that woman. And he's very funny, very persistent. Eventually, they get a romance, and the spice starts off probably like 50%. I really enjoyed that aspect. There were a lot of spicy scenes. Some were more explicit than others, and some were they just kind of glazed over the details. So that's why it's not higher, because there were a lot of spicy scenes, but there was a variety of explicitness. I actually really enjoyed that because I don't need the details of everything, every single spicy scene. Coming in at number 6, I do not own this physically. I borrowed it from Libby, and that is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is another one that the spice kind of starts off a little bit early. There are quite a few of those scenes sprinkled in. This book follows our main female character, who is the youngest in her family. Her family just kind of does not treat her seriously, but something that kind of like adds to that is that she literally is a clown. She has her own business where she does birthday parties for kids, and a lot of the time she is a clown for kids at birthday parties. Her brother's best friend comes back into town. He is kind of recovering from leaving his professional baseball career because of an injury, and he is just moping. Her brother calls and is like, help him. She does, and they kind of end up running into each other a lot and forming a friendship, and then eventually more. I think I ranked this a little bit higher because Tessa Bailey's spicy scenes are pretty explicit in my opinion. I've read a few other of her books and really enjoyed them, but yeah, the explicitness is a little bit higher than others, like say Maggie Moves On. So that's why I rank this as number 6. Number 5, I have listened to a few of these this year, so we're just gonna do it as a whole for the series, and that is the Briar You series by Elle Kennedy. This series, you know that there's gonna be spice in this series. This whole series follows hockey players at this Briar University campus. We get to follow different hockey players. It's really fun because a lot of them still show up in each other's books later along the lines, to where you really get to know these characters so well, and I really enjoyed that about Elle Kennedy's books. The reason I rank this as number 5 is because Elle Kennedy really knows what she's doing when it comes to tension, to sexual tension. She just builds and builds and builds, and then like boom! And these are college students. We have athletes, so they be doing things a lot. And Elle incorporates them into her books. With the Briar You series, we get quite a few spicy scenes, but what I really enjoy about them is they're also really intimate. It's not just one and done, let's go. It's like they really add to the plot and to the connection of the characters with each other, and we usually also get to have some like vulnerable moments. So there's heat and then there's intimacy with Elle Kennedy's spicy scenes, which I really enjoy. Okay, number 4, I only have this in ebook format, but that is the Stay a Spell series. I recently read the 6th book Grim and Barrett by Juliette Cross in a past vlog. So if you're interested in watching that reading vlog, please go check that out. One of my highly anticipated reads of this year. It did not disappoint. Juliette Cross really knows how to write spicy scenes. Ooh, she incorporates them often, and she incorporates a variety of different kinds of spice and like kinks, and so I really appreciate that. You should check out this entire series. I love it so much. The whole series is very spicy. For the Stay Spell series, if you want to know more about Grim and Barrett, please go check out that vlog. But for the series as a whole, we follow a set of sisters. There are 6 of them who live in New Orleans in this kind of like modern magical world. There are Grims, there are witches, there are vampires, there are werewolves. And the oldest sister is kind of the overseer of New Orleans in the magical community. So we follow each sister in her journey as they find a partner, and lots of fun, lots of action, lots of mystery. It is really fun, and that whole series is just the best. I highly recommend it. Number 3 in spiciness is the Twisted series. I don't have my 4th book with me. I'm currently reading it up top. So the Twisted series is very spicy. It starts off pretty early, except for Twisted Gains started a little bit later than the other 2 did, give and take, but lots of spiciness and different kinks for sure. I think Twisted Hate is my favorite so far in terms of the spicy scenes. I feel like every spicy scene in Twisted Hate really added to the plot and to the character growth and character development. Whereas sometimes I feel like authors write in spicy scenes as like fan service, which I'm not complaining about, but I really loved how much these scenes added to the plot as a whole. The Twisted series follows different friends who were roommates at the beginning of the series. Huang really likes to do time jumps and like have her books over a longer period of time. So by the end of the series, they're no longer roommates, but they are good friends still. So we follow those friends and different people that they end up getting with. So for this one, we have brother's best friend. This one is a forbidden romance with her bodyguard. This one is kind of her best friend's brother, but they're also kind of rivals or enemies. And then the last one is kind of like forced proximity situation. Lots of spiciness, lots of different kinks. Twisted series, check it out. Number 2 in spiciness is Ugly Love. Now, I have to say this isn't my favorite book because of what goes on between our main characters. It's very much a friends with benefits situation, but our main female lead falls hard and just kind of puts herself in a situation where she gets hurt again and again and again. And where I know that our main male character is very stoic and trying to like put up a front, I get that, but he did set very clear boundaries and our main female character tries to cross them again and again. So not my favorite book in terms of the plot, but in terms of the spiciness, y'all, this book, there is a lot of it and it is very well written. I don't know what else much to say about that. It's friends with benefits, so you know that they are in that agreement, and a lot of it is in the plot. So you want spice? Ugly Love. Okay, my friends, last but not least, I borrowed this from my library, and that is Wicked Beauty by Katee Robert. Katee Robert knows how to write the spice. And Wicked Beauty was... woo! It is MMF, so if you don't know what that is, that's male, male, female. It is like a throuple situation, and it happens frequently. Check the trigger warnings. It was good. I really don't think I could say much more without YouTube flagging me, so we're just gonna stick to that. And that whole series is excellent in terms of spice. I highly recommend it, especially if you enjoy Greek mythology. Even if you don't enjoy Greek mythology, I really love the way Katee Robert has written this series, because instead of retelling Greek mythology, she is kind of reimagining it in a modern setting. Instead of these people being gods and having powers and overseeing people, it's more like figureheads overseeing a city, and the person who is like the Demeter or the Ares can change. You can have like competitions, or you can be voted in, or if someone dies, then you know something happens and there's a replacement, or someone can retire and have a replacement. So it's really interesting in terms of how the story is told and reimagining of Greek mythology, so definitely check it out. I highly recommend that series. All right, everyone, we have our stack of spicy books. I hope that you can find some spicy books that you enjoy based on these recommendations. And in terms of spice level, I enjoyed like all of these books, so I really hope that you can enjoy some of them too. If I missed something, because these are just the books I've read in 2023, if you have some really great spicy book recommendations, I would love to know them. Please let me know down below in the comments, and I'll add them to my TBR when I need a little spice in my life. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna stop talking, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone. Sending you good vibes.